Could maybe share some words of inspiration. I don't really have any set questions set up for you, but if you could just kind of go with the flow and free flow and share some of your vast knowledge with the people here.
Well, thank you. That opens a big door.
It does. Well, there's so many subjects I was thinking about.
Yeah, I don't know where to go with that exactly, but well, you're familiar with two of my books here, The Healing Oils of the Bible.
Yes, I've had the pleasure to read this book. Phenomenal book, Healing Oils of the Bible.
And then the chemistry book, it says made simple. I don't know how simple I made it, but I tried.
Wonderful.
It was hard to make something simple. It's almost 900 pages, so I was astonished myself when I wrote the book. I thought I could do that in 150 pages.
Turned into a project, huh?
150 pages, I was just up to chapter 2. I was very excited.
Well, maybe I can ask you a question specifically on Healing Oils of the Bible. I've done a lot of research into the historical periods back then, and probably started with, before I even knew about essential oils, I studied shamanism and plant healing for a lot of years, and which naturally led into the essential oils. And then going back into these ancient times with the use of oils, it opened up this whole new vista for me. So, you know, what I think we know of the ancient days is just a tiny fraction. So in your research, it appears that you've uncovered, not only did you go into the Bible, but you were able to dig into some probably lesser available to the public texts and different translations. And maybe you could just briefly elucidate on what some of the things you found when you dug deeper behind the scriptures, behind the Bible. What did you find about anointing and essential oils that was happening?
Well, one of the things I found out is that there was a lot more oils used in biblical times than are mentioned in the Bible. The Bible is not really a book about oils. It's a book about the relationship of the Israelites and early Christians with your God. But it just so happens they use oils so much that it got mentioned over 100 times in the Bible. And I'm glad of that, because that provides what we have today. And they used them for healing purposes, and they burned, of course, olive oil in their lamps, and burned incense in the temples. One of the things that amazed me is that in the Jewish Israelite temple, they sacrificed a lot of animals. In fact, during the week of Pentecost, they would sacrifice several 100,000 animals in 1 week in Jerusalem. So if you think about that, that could create quite a pathological environment where bacteria and fungi and parasites and viruses proliferate, which would result in a lot of sickness among the temple personnel and the priests, but in the population at large. But it never happened. The Bible doesn't record any of that. Well, the healing, the anointing oil of the Bible, which is in the 30th chapter of Exodus, contains 4 oils. It's got myrrh, calamus, cinnamon, and cassia. And they were to anoint everything around the altar every day. They didn't just anoint the priest. They would rub on the candlesticks, the altar, and the washing bowl that they used for washing their hands. And even the legs under the table were washed. And I realized that we know it now, that's not in the Bible. It doesn't say that these are extremely antimicrobial oils, but they're very effective. I mean, cinnamon by itself is as effective as penicillin.
Right.
And
I saw that in the New York Times.
Yeah. So they were wiping down the whole altar area every day. Therefore, the germ count was pulled down to 0. They weren't accumulating any there.
Right.
And then I got to thinking, but yeah, there could be germs in the air. What protected them there? And then I realized the holy incense that they burned all the time in there is also highly antimicrobial. And the formula is given in Exodus.
Right.
And that was, what was that? It was galbanum, onycha, myrrh, and frankincense, those 4 oils. For the incense, which are different oils. And so I thought, well, you know, that's amazing. God thought of everything, because he gave these formulas. Moses got these directly from God. Those are his formulas. And so there he was. He protected the Israelites both from the contact bacteria that they might touch, and also from what was in the air. Another thing I thought was interesting, because in the formula that he gives for the incense, which was given to Moses directly from God, it says to put salt in the incense. I thought, well, that's weird. I don't know why they would do that. And I didn't know for several years. And it's not even in the book. I just recently found out by reading some Egyptian and Roman books that they put salt in the incense to absorb water, so the incense would better be
Would burn better.
Yeah. And so evidently God knew that because
Yeah.
He put it in His recipe.
Wow.